it chapter by chapter, one bite at a time. So many adventures and mountains we can climb. Take it word for word, line by line, one bite at a time.
Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. If you want to know what's coming next and vote on upcoming books, sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. You'll also find our new t-shirts in the shop, including podcast shirts and quote shirts from your favorite classic novels. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. You can find most of our links in the show notes. But also our website, biteatatimebooks.com, includes all of the links for our show, including to our Patreon to support the show, and YouTube, where we have special behind the narration of the episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic authors to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please note, while we try to keep the text as close to the original as possible, some words have been changed to honor the marginalized communities who've identified the words as harmful, and to stay in alignment with Bite at a Time Books' brand values. Today we'll be continuing Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Chapter 9. The Man with the Bell. He walked straight up to the man whom he saw in the garden. He had taken in his hand the roll of silver which was in the pocket of his waistcoat. The man's head was bent down, and he did not see him approaching. In a few strides, Jean Valjean stood beside him. Jean Valjean accosted him with the cry, 100 francs. The man gave a start and raised his eyes. You can earn 100 francs, went on Jean Valjean, if you will grant me shelter for this night. The moon shone full upon Jean Valjean's terrified countenance. What? So it is you, Father Madeleine, said the man. That name, thus pronounced at that obscure hour in that unknown spot, by that strange man, made Jean Valjean start back. He had expected anything but that. The person who thus addressed him was a bent and lame old man, dressed almost like a peasant, who wore on his left knee a leather kneecap whence hung a moderately large bell. His face, which was in the shadow, was not distinguishable. However, the good man had removed his cap and exclaimed, trembling all over, "Ah, good God, how come you here, Father Madeleine? Where did you enter? Dear Jesus, did you fall from heaven? There is no trouble about that. If ever you do fall, it will be from there. And what a state you are in! You have no cravat, you have no hat, you have no coat. Do you know you would have frightened anyone who did not know you? No coat, Lord God! Are the saints going mad nowadays? But how did you get in here?" His words tumbled over each other. The good man talked with a rustic volubility in which there was nothing alarming. All this was uttered with a mixture of stupefaction and naive kindliness. "Who are you, and what house is this?" demanded Jean Valjean. "Ah, pardieu, this is too much," exclaimed the old man. "I am the person of whom you got the place here, and this house is the one where you had me placed. What? You don't recognize me?" "No," said Jean Valjean. "And how happens it that you know me?" "You saved my life," said the man. He turned. A ray of moonlight outlined his profile, and Jean Valjean recognized old Fauchelevert. "Ah," said Jean Valjean, "so it is you. Yes, I recollect you. That is very lucky," said the old man in a reproachful tone. "And what are you doing here?" resumed Jean Valjean. Why, I'm covering my melons, of course. In fact, at the moment when Jean Valjean accosted him, old Fauchelevert held in his hand at the end of a straw mat which he was occupied in spreading over the melon bed. During the hour or thereabouts that he had been in the garden, he had already spread out a number of them. It was this operation which had caused him to execute the peculiar movements observed from the shed by Jean Valjean. He continued, I said to myself, the moon is bright, it is going to freeze. What if I were to put my melons into their greatcoats? And, he added, looking at Jean Valjean with a broad smile, Pardieu, you ought to have done the same. But how do you come here? Jean Valjean, finding himself known to this man, at least only under the name of Madeleine, thenceforth advanced only with caution. He multiplied his questions. Strange to say, their roles seemed to be reversed. It was he, the intruder, who interrogated. And what is this bell you wear on your knee? This, replied Fauchelevert, is so that I may be avoided. What? So that you may be avoided? Old Fauchelevert winked with an indescribable air. Oh, goodness, there are only women in this house. Many young girls. It appears that I should be a dangerous person to meet. The bell gives them warning. When I come, they go. What house is this? Come, you know well enough. But I do not. Not when you got me the place here as a gardener. Answer me as though I knew nothing. Well then, this is the Petite Picpus convent. Memories recurred to Jean Valjean. Chance, that is to say. Providence had cast him into precisely that convent in the Quartier Saint-Antoine, where old Fauchelevert, crippled by the fall from his cart, had been admitted on his recommendation 2 years previously. He repeated, as though talking to himself, The Petite Picpus convent. Exactly, returned old Fauchelevert. But to come to the point, how the deuce did you manage to get in here, you, Father Madeleine? No matter if you're a saint, you are a man as well, and no man enters here. You certainly are here. There is no one but me. Still, said Jean Valjean, I must stay here. Oh, good God, cried Fauchelevert. Jean Valjean drew near to the old man and said to him in a grave voice, Father Fauchelevert, I saved your life. I was the first to recall it, returned Fauchelevert. Well, you can do today for me that which I did for you in the olden days. Fauchelevert took in his aged, trembling and wrinkled hands Jean Valjean's 2 robust hands, and stood for several minutes as though incapable of speaking. At length he exclaimed, Oh, that would be a blessing from the good God, if I could make you some little return for that. Save your life. Monsieur le Maire, dispose of the old man. A wonderful joy had transfigured this old man. His countenance seemed to emit a ray of light. What do you wish me to do? He resumed. That I will explain to you. You have a chamber. I have an isolated hovel yonder behind the ruins of the old convent, in a corner which no one ever looks into. There are 3 rooms in it. The hut was in fact so well hidden behind the ruins and so cleverly arranged to prevent it being seen that Jean Valjean had not perceived it. Good, said Jean Valjean. Now I'm going to ask 2 things of you. What are they, Mr. Mayor? In the first place, you are not to tell anyone what you know about me. In the second, you're not to try to find out anything more. As you please. I know that you can do nothing that is not honest, that you have always been a man after the good God's heart, and then, moreover, it was who placed me here. That concerns you. I am at your service. That is settled, then. Now come with me, we will go and get the child. Ah, said Fauchelevert. So there is a child. He added not a word further and followed Jean Valjean as a dog follows his master. Less than half an hour afterwards, Cosette, who had grown rosy again before the flame of a good fire, was lying asleep in the old gardener's bed. Jean Valjean had put on his cravat and coat once more. His hat, which he had flung over the wall, had been found and picked up. While Jean Valjean was putting on his coat, Fauchelevert had removed the bell and kneecap which now hung on a nail beside a vintage basket that adorned the wall. The 2 men were warming themselves with their elbows resting on a table, upon which Fauchelevert had placed a bit of cheese, black bread, a bottle of wine, and 2 glasses. And the old man was saying to Jean Valjean as he laid his hand on the latter's knee, Father Madeleine, you did not recognize me immediately. You save people's lives, and then you forget them. That is bad. But they remember you. You are an ingrate. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of Les Miserables. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com and check out the shop. You can check out the show notes or our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the rest of the links for our show. We'd love to hear from you on social media as well.
Take a look in the book and let's see what we can find. Taking chapter by chapter, one bite at a time. So many adventures and mountains we can climb. Take it word for word, line by line, one bite at a time.